is Maya, and welcome to my channel, Cranley Place, where I'm posting content on scarf style, knot tutorials, and more. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to be notified of new videos, which I'm publishing weekly. Choosing a scarf is so personal, and certainly a Grail scarf means different things to different people. I'm always a bit skeptical when secondary market sellers call something a Grail. Sometimes it may be to hype up the listing, but maybe it is really hard to find, a special edition or a rare colorway, etc. In any event, in this video, I'll talk about some of the higher profile Grail Hermès scarves and share my thoughts on them. Special shout out to Sara for suggesting this topic. So let's get started. How are we defining Grail? Well, in this context, maybe it's an Hermès scarf that caught your eye in a current season, but it's sold out everywhere. Or you could be a newer collector looking for something from a past season. Whatever your situation, Grails are highly personal, based on your tastes, colors you like, even themes or artists that appeal to you. Let's start with some of the high-profile ones within the Hermès scarf community. This scarf is designed by Anamorphée, a company formed by Bertrand Houdin and Charlotte Alpernin. This highly collectible scarf, issued in 2011, has a vibrant patchwork design that incorporates the Hermès signature emblem, Ex Libris, the Duke carriage and groom, in a kimono pattern based on the designs of Matsuza Kaya of Kyoto, Japan. I love Japanese textiles and have always been a fan of the design aesthetic. But this is one of those scarves where really I have to say c'est la vie and move on, simply because I'm not willing to shell out $1,000 or more for a pre-owned 90 by 90 scarf. Others may feel differently or have higher thresholds, but for me, I admire it and move on. Never say never though, right? If I could find this in good shape at a reasonable price for me, then certainly I would consider it, but I'm not holding my breath. Here is another Japanese-themed design, first issued in 2017 by Aline Honoré. Based on the samurai armor collection from the Anne and Gabriel Barbier Mueller Museum in Dallas, Texas, this one quickly sold out globally. I was lucky enough to get my hands on a 140 Cashmere GM in my preferred colorway when it issued. In retrospect, I should have picked up a 90 by 90 when they were available as well, but figured I missed out. I will say that it is possible to find this design in both sizes, again, with a lot of patience and some good luck. In fact, last year, I was able to pick up a 90 by 90, which amazingly still had its original tags and was unworn. This is thanks to that segment of collectors who buy scarves simply to admire them and at some point pare down their collections to make room for other acquisitions. It wasn't an outrageously ridiculous price, in my mind anyways, but make no mistake, there was a premium to what you'd normally pay for a scarf in season directly from Hermès. Would I pick up another one? Absolutely, I would consider it, but only in a colorway that I know for sure that I want and at a reasonable price. And I understand what's reasonable for me may be different for others. But buying a so-called Grail scarf in a colorway that's only so-so for you, or picking it up because it's wanted by collectors or a good price, in my mind, that's a recipe for something you ultimately won't be happy with. And by the way, this is true for any Hermès design, but especially so for any that are considered Grails. You really have to be careful about counterfeits. I have a tutorial on tips for spotting the fakes, so be sure to check that out if you haven't seen it. Alice Shirley is another one of those Hermès designers whose scarves seem to fly off the shelves when they're issued. This was a limited edition scarf to celebrate Canada's 150th anniversary in 2017. The scarf's design reflected Canada's diverse seasons, wildlife, and natural habitats, featuring traditional Canadian animal and scenic imagery. You see this beautiful owl in the corner with the northern lights behind, or at least I think that's supposed to be the aurora borealis. What about the polar bears and brown bears, the Atlantic puffins, lynx, deer, and more? You can even spot some whales and narwhals in there. Truly a beautiful scarf, which was sold exclusively at Hermès stores in Canada and on Hermès.com. Given its limited issue, finding this is not impossible, but they usually come at a steep price. I've come across a few in some exquisite colorways, but which were just out of my price range. Others I've found at something more reasonable to me cost-wise, but I wasn't crazy about the colorway. So, being an Alice Shirley fan, this is one I would surely pick up if I could find it in a preferred colorway at a reasonable price. I'm not holding my breath again, but never say never. By the way, sesquicentennial is the word meaning 150th. You can keep that in your back pocket for a casual conversation at your next cocktail party. Savana Dance is by Ardmore Artists, a collective of artisans originally based in the KwaZulu-Natal province of South Africa. The design showcases a green monkey, known as the vervet, being chased by a leopard. In Zulu culture, the leopard represents royalty, whereas the vervet is a symbol of wit and humor. Surrounding the predator and prey are sugar bushes, which are the national flowers of South Africa. And the border is decorated with Amazumpa motifs, which are characteristic of Zulu pottery. The 70 by 70 centimeter version was originally issued as part of Hermès' Spring-Summer 2016 collection, and then again as a gavroche for Spring-Summer 2017. This design was also reprised as a cashmere silk shawl, a twilly, and a mousseline. Hermès has also used the Savana dance motif on clothing, jewelry, ceramics, and other objets. It was actually offered as a 140 centimeter wash silk scarf for the Spring-Summer 2020 season, and there are at least 2 colorways of the twilly available on Hermès.com today. Is the 70 centimeter version hard to find? Definitely, but not impossible. Expensive? Absolutely. So much so for me that I don't bother trying to collect it in this format. Also, it is possible to scratch that itch, so to speak. If it's the design that you truly love, you can find it in another format. I picked up this design as a twilly and in a colorway that I love, and that was enough for me. May not be the case for you, but certainly something to consider. The name of this scarf is taken from none other than the Shakespearean play, A Midsummer Night's Dream. Written in the late 16th century, this comic fantasy tells the tale of 4 lovers bewitched by fairies. As I've mentioned in other videos, Edouard Baribeaud is a relatively new designer to the house of Hermès, but his scarf designs, even as new as they are, they're highly sought after. This design has been issued as a 90 by 90 as well as a cashmere 140, both of which sold out rather quickly. I received this scarf as a gift when it was issued and was able to pick up another 90 by 90 colorway in the secondary market. Again, amazingly unworn and with tags. If you missed this during the season, it is possible to find. I've seen mainly 90 by 90s in the secondary market and the very occasional 140, which look divine. You might even get lucky and find an unworn scarf, but be prepared to pay. It's one of those things that, again, depends on the individual. If you're working with a budget, at some point you have to draw the line beyond which you just won't cross. If I didn't have this already, would I pick one up? Maybe, if the colorway and the price were right. But like I've said, I've seen these for double, triple, or more the price of an in-season Hermès scarf. So it really depends on your patience, your budget, and how much you want it. And truth be told, sometimes it's more about the hunt, so to speak, than getting the scarf. I'm not one who's willing to pay double or triple, but maybe you are, so by all means, go for it. . Again, a Grail scarf can be highly personal. What I view as a must-have may be a meh for someone else, and that's fine. Generally, I try to avoid chasing past seasons, mainly because it can get quite expensive, much more so than if you'd caught the scarf during the season. But if money is no object, that may not matter to you. For the rest of us, however, who work with some sort of budget, it is absolutely possible to acquire your wish list scarves, especially with a good dose of patience and a lot of luck. As I mentioned earlier, I've been able to get my hands on several of my wish list scarves over the years, especially since there are collectors who will buy a scarf and never wear it. According to an informal survey I did on Instagram, 57% of those respondents said that they buy Hermès scarves and don't wear them for various reasons. But that is a whole other story. So there you have it, a bit about some of the high-profile grails within the Hermès scarf community, along with my thoughts about collecting them. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, and let me know what you think in the comments. In my next episode, I'll talk about a few Hermès scarf designs that are a bit more under the radar, but equally grail-worthy in my mind. I'm publishing weekly, so be sure to hit that subscribe button to be notified of new videos. Thanks again for joining me today. Until next time.